Hey, look me over. I never said I was Brad Pitt. Making sure my mic volume is up. It's 9 o'clock at the Rock, WKGL-FM, Middletown, New York. Oh, I miss saying that. I do. I miss those songs that I used to play. Hello, hello, hello. We start with 11, and I'm in heaven. Heaven, I'm in heaven. That's right, heaven. Heavon. Brenda Noyce, under the name Dalen, was first from 1958, huh? Younger than me, I suppose. And also Richard Lyon from West Palm Beach, Florida. Jack, my friend, hello, hello, Richard. Elaine Peterson is here. Hello, Elaine, from northern Maine. I don't know my northeast, west, south from one another. Let me have a sip because I had a little sweet. And the mint. You ever have a little mint? And it has the effect of making your throat feel like, I don't know, how can I describe it? Like it's about to throw you into a coughing fit. Hello, the virtual. Yes, I'm not really real, Richard. Hi, Marty Greco. Welcome to you. Hi, Jack. It's just you jive talking. Jive talking. You're telling me lies. You jive talking. You're wearing a disguise. Is that the lyric? I never caught that part. Pam Donnelly, Nonstick Pam, is joined us. Someone new who was speaking maybe French. Even your first name is going to be hard. We'll just call you Vito. You could be Vito like my hair guy. That would be easier for me. Where are you watching from? Will you tell me? Oui? Oui? Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six. Six is in sister? Hey, little sister. Oh, it's been a long time since I've been in Montreal, where I did hear a considerable amount of French. But that was 1964, not 1984, which is what I'm singing by David Bowie. Oh, I hear sounds out there. I could be abducted during the show. Didn't take me long to see something in the air last night. That's a plane engine I'm hearing now. That's definitely a plane. I don't know what I was seeing, but I kept my eye on it, and they knew I was watching because it kind of paused. Maybe a satellite. I'm not saying a UFO. I've seen ones that look more like UFOs. This looked like a satellite. When I came up to the room here, I kept my lights off, and I looked out, and it was kind of right out there. Not that close, but it was out there. So I think I'm going to see some incredible sightings this springtime, because it's been too cold for me to hang out there, But if I do get beamed up, I'll ask if I can go live. All right? Fair enough? You'll be able to spot me easily. I'll look like the one who's absolutely terrified. Oh, why wouldn't I be? I don't know if they're going to leave me naked behind the general store, which would be a blessing, as opposed to never coming back from that realm, I think. Brian from Louisiana. See, I said it right. You thought I was going to say Louisiana, didn't you? Nah, I learned. You got to say Louisiana. That's how you say it. Elaine Peterson is talking to Pam and Helen. Very good. Hey, Miles Wright is here talking to Brenda. Cool. Miles Wright, a real estate preparer, an estate preparer. So Tammy Griffin, that's Tammy with an I. She's our thumbnail for our last Saturday night show. Beautiful thumbnail. Check that out and check out the video, because without the magic words in there, yeah, just like I thought, under 1,000 views. Hello, Spencer for Hire. TM, how are you? I mean, TS. I don't know what I'm saying. And so it's nice to have you, Brian, from Louisiana. Nancy DeMarco, that's fancy Nancy from Tornado Alley, Oklahoma. Hello, Jack and friends. Nathan Slaughter, a different Slaughter? We usually have a Slaughter, but it's not Nathan. TCB, taking care of business. I love to work at nothing all day. Randy Bachman out there on the road with Burton Cummings, Guess Who reunion. And of course, he's doing the BTO songs too. Yeah. My son is in Paris. Wow. Wow. I've never been there, never will be. It's not in the budget. As you get to be a certain age, you don't fool yourself anymore, you know? Take a picture of them, Jack, and show us. Show what? What were we talking about? See how fast my mind goes to something else? Take a picture. Oh, you mean the ships? Yeah, I'm going to do that. I already have a nice video up where they put on a show for me, and it's better than what I would have showed you from last night. You know, but yeah, I will. I will do that. Love to have that. Love to have that iPhone camera quality. If anybody has an iPhone that they replace and just put the old one in the drawer, well, email me, jackthefairguy@gmail.com. Jack the Fair Guy. Email me, and maybe you could gift it to me, you know? I really most want it for the camera. For our live broadcasts this spring and summer. I mean, I'm going places. They're all cheap places. See, I can't afford France, you know? Who is the most popular celebrity in France from America, huh? Anybody know? Tell me. Maybe your son can tell me. Check the fair guy at gmail.com for any correspondence, including that you have an iPhone in the drawer you're not going to use anymore, but it's in good working order, especially the camera part. And you'd like to gift it to me because I want to have the best broadcast I can have, you know. So I will do that. Didn't do it last night, but if you look back in the videos here, you will see quite a show right from my window. Multicolors, one big orb splitting off into four colorful cubes doing a dance for me. I don't know how we can ever say that's anything but a UFO, you know? So we will do that. Well, look at that. Jody Smith is here. I didn't even know. And she hits the thanks button, which is, I guess, you first click on the ask button. And you would get to the thanks button, and she hits the thanks button for $1. Well, thank you, Jody Smith. Thank you very, very much. You off tonight, or did you just get home? Michael Hembry is here. What's the weather up there? Well, we're on the upswing, but only for a day. It's like a tease, you know? Don't you hate to be teased? I mean, it's nice at first, but you don't want it to lead to nothing. In this case, it will lead to one really nice day tomorrow, 70 degrees. And then we're, I think, in the 40s the next day, you know, and 27 at night or something. Here's the man from the Hudson Valley like me, who I see every now and then with his lovely wife, Kenneth Winters. And he's speaking to Dalen, who she's really Brenda. It's Brenda Noyce. You know, she's committed some crimes and she's trying to be incognito. Robin's got knee trouble. I get shots tomorrow. Yeah, those shots can be very effective, Brenda. The orthopedist that's in love with Karen down at Middletown Medical, he you can just tell the way he looks at her. He looks at her like a fine wine. You know, I know what's going on there. I mean, I may have been born late in the day, but I wasn't born yesterday. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know that. I mean, I've ruined some guys' days. I mean, they see Karen and they're ready to chat her up. And then I come around the corner and they look at me like, oh, man, go take a hike, buddy. I'm going to do content by the 15 after because I know people that don't care about our little family here are tuning in because of the title. Cut the Jive Talk. Uh, Bob Joyce done with George Magazine as of now. God could reconcile the whole thing and what have you. But right now, it don't look so good. So those who infer there's some kind of link, it's jive talking. Give me a break. Give me a break. You can't have your cake and eat it too. You're either going to eat the cake or you're going to have it. You decide. Reminds me, this whole story, though, of something that's going on right now with Suzanne Organics. That's Suzanne Summers' company. She is no longer with us, but um, in my opinion, her husband is running it into the ground. Faith Lloyd, we were in the 70s today and supposed to get up to 80 tomorrow and then 49 on Friday. Yeah, so you're in the same kind of pattern. Isn't it weird? Here in Cincinnati, where William Shatner was a few days ago, right? At a fan convention? Yeah, I think so. He may have fallen off a horse and had shoulder surgery. He said, I'm going to Cincinnati. I'm going. He's got a whole tour coming up. I don't know what he does in his show, but he's got, I mean, we're talking about back to back dates. Slow down a little, Bill. Slow down a little, Mr. Shatner, as I should say. Come on, don't go day after day after day at your age. Just, be cool. Just finished second day in a row of 90 degrees. Well, I'm not looking for that. I mean, we'll probably get that, but we're known for not getting that until like sometime in late July or August. That's when we get that kind of weather, and I hope it's that way. Pam Inslee, hello from Montana. I bet your temperatures have improved too, right? Bet your temperatures have improved. Feel like the mic is down. I mean, the camera, 4K camera, down a little too low, but I'm not going to mess with it live. That can be a disaster unless I really have to. So there you go. Jupiter's Realm is here. Nice to have you aboard. And yes, I know it's you, Brenda. I wish you'd go back to that handle. Dodger Sport. Hey, all. Hello, Dodger. Welcome to you, and welcome to Kenneth Winters. Debbie Crum. Hi, Jack. Hi, Debbie. Welcome to you. Wednesday night, the 25th of March already. I want the months to slow down now. I want them to slow down because before you know it, it'll be September and the chilly winds will start up and some very warm temperatures. But you know what I mean? You get your first taste in September, and I don't want to be around here in January. I just don't. No. Sandra Fair. Hello, Jack and all. Good to be with like-minded folks again. Yeah. Hope Marty Greco is doing well. Hope you are, Marty. We had the same weather pattern as in New York. Yeah. We had a wonderful taste a few weeks back of spring, and then it just got ripped away from us. Judy Wright in Georgia. I guess that's our same Judy Wright as always, right? Is that where you and Miles live? Or do we have two Judy Wrights? It's not impossible. Huh. You're still my friend, Jack. I hope you had a great birthday. I understand. I understand both meanings there. Yeah. Well, it was, I have small birthdays. I mean, I get to see my kids, hoping to see my son. Can't, talk really about his personal life, but there's always a challenge involved in getting together. But love to see my daughter, and that's the story there. Jack, even though the magazine is being run into the ground, could it be that he knows he's still alive, but the magazine's attitude is like, who cares if you are? Who cares if you're not? I don't quite get that handle. But let's get into content since it's 9:15, and we shall do it. We shall do it. You know, there are those that are inferring that there's some kind of current link between uh, Pastor Bob Joyce and George Magazine, and there's not. Anything that I can find and what my sources are telling me, there's not. I mean, all we have to do. Uh, I hope I didn't. Let me see. Yeah, all we have to do is go back to the Honest Talk video from. Let's see when we did that. Let me just get this down here and get past this. Okay. We have a video, Bob Joyce controversy, honest talk. This deals with something that Gene Ho said. Well, he said a number of things since then, but the first thing was an open video to Pastor Bob Joyce. We played an excerpt from it, and you can find that video here, Bob Joyce controversy, honest talk. So then when we go down in the comments section here, that video got a lot of comments. A lot of comments. And the publisher of George Magazine was one of them. He had several. He had several postings, and we've said this before, but I've got to keep the story in context. I've got to reiterate it. I can't see what you're writing right now, so uh, hold any comments for me. And I'll do content because there are people that saw this and want to hear that, and they're not going to stay with us the whole time. Dave Blay says, the Lord knows we have our share of the type of individuals with strong narcissistic traits at George Magazine that we had it along the way early on. Thank God, thank God, Lord, they are gone now. And whether these narcissists had their contract terminated or quit voluntarily, they then experience a departure as a profound psychological threat. And this is true whether they have multiple college degrees, consider themselves to be the world's greatest salesman, or the world's greatest artist. They are all the same. World's greatest artist. Who would that be? They are all the same. It says read more. But let me say that we have strived to be right from the start and that we are now. George Magazine is the magazine of politics, faith, and information for the everyday, hardworking American. We're not red, we're not blue, we're for you. And George Magazine stands with truckers, teachers, veterans, it's a commercial, farmers, parents, and patriots who help build day by day. Here, your faith matters, your voice matters, and your truth matters, no matter what side of the aisle you're on. Um, then he goes on to talk about the controversies surrounding what Gene Ho said in his open video to Pastor Bob Joyce and the people involved. I had mentioned that, you know, for there to be controversy in the church, that's pretty much a normal fact of life. He says, this is not normal church drama. This is outside influence and lies coming from a former contract worker of George Magazine. She aligned with an older couple in the assembly there at Household of Faith, as the wife in the older couple is also from the same state. The former contract worker, who has not been at George for 2 years, spreads vicious lies and rumors to the older people, and then they gleefully spread those lies to others in the congregation. The older couple are preying on some that are unwitting, but desire to fit in. We know that we know who we are, but now we are also looking at Bob, that's Pastor Bob Joyce, the pastor of Household of Faith, as Bob may also be the ringleader of all this after benefiting greatly from George Magazine. Really? Did he need George Magazine to benefit? Really? um, Bob is not Elvis, and no one wants to pay big money to see an older Elvis impersonator. He might as well spit in Pastor Bob's face at that point. So anybody, any creator that tries to talk off the top of their head and infers there's some kind of current link between Pastor Bob and George Magazine now is full of you know what. You know what. And then he went on to, in another post, to talk about, because we had mentioned Nicolas Cage filming a scene at Sabrina Joyce's house in Little Rock, Arkansas. Best Pancakes in the County is the movie. Nicolas Cage was never at Sabrina's house. Ridiculous. There's more comments that came from that. I said I just saw footage with a film crew. Matt and Sabrina did not look like they were, part of an AI hoax there. It looked real. And then Superhero, who we hear, said that's because it was legit. And an inside source in that very same thread in the replies, someone who I believe was there and an inside source, a trusted inside source said, oh, yes, Nicolas Cage was there. Oh, yes, he was, they said. So, and then Superhero says, like you would know, talking to Dave, who was at her house, LOL. So, you know, when you say that about Pastor Bob, who you invited to be a contributor to George Magazine, when you say that about him, you are effectively cutting off your nose to spite your face. And you had to know that. You had to know that. Now, Dave Blaze, you are very welcome to email me here at jackthefairguy@gmail.com. And if you would like to come on and speak here on the telephone, you're more than welcome to do that and say what you want to say. I assume you'll be professional because you're a professional Christian man. I'm hearing that you have devotionals every day. The door is open for you to do that. Door is open for you to tell your side here. jackthefairguy@gmail.com. So Gene has done several responses on this. There was an incident at Household of Faith, sadly, when somebody who played in the band, who was beloved there, far, far away from the church, got caught in a sting operation trying to have sex with a 14-year-old girl. And Gene inferred that here was another example of a shepherd who's not watching his flock, which is nonsense, absolute nonsense. He's not a psychic. He doesn't claim to have prophetic dreams every time he closes his eyes. You know, he did say that the Lord has given him dreams to reach the world, but he doesn't. He doesn't have a special prophecy. Anytime it's an hour to broadcast, oh, Holy Spirit, I it's getting close. I'm going to need something here. No, I don't think the Holy Spirit works like that. But I don't ever say about a specific teaching anything because I don't want to blaspheme the Holy Spirit or state as fact something I don't know about. I leave it alone. But anyway, the thing that was being said is that at George Magazine Live, and we have to keep bringing this up because Gene makes it a story because he keeps talking about it. He does these devotionals. Personal Facebook friends, by far my longest and most personal devotional yet. This is May 18th from Gene Ho, looking good. And I am not against Gene. I love Gene. I'm so sad about this situation. I wish it would be rectified, but it can't be rectified if the attitude is the pastor's going to do exactly what I want. He's got to agree with me, and that he's supposed to be able to control everything that comes out of anybody's mouth. If someone, I don't think we're quite at the Jim Jones cult level here, you know? Maybe Jim Jones could have controlled this, but if someone goes to see an event and sees, say, in this case, Gene Ho on the stage, and they have a perception that he may have had something to drink and they share that with somebody else, that's not vicious gossiping. That's just a perception. You lose your right to free speech when you become a Christian because everybody else is exercising their right to free speech for sure. So you don't lose that right. I hope I've got this queued up right. But anyway, he continues to speak about that event when he went on stage. Now, the things that were said about this from inside sources and stuff that is that um, I'm trying to remember exactly what the point I'm trying to make here is that people witnessed this. The band noticed something different about Gene's behavior, and they posted a comment on it, and then it was taken down in a very short time. But anyway, here is the man himself, the great Gene Ho, who we love, and so many people at Household of Faith love and uh, trusted him and feel bad about this. He was part of the family. He was part of the Joyce family. So it's a no-win situation for anybody. So let's see if we can get that up.
But people today are still bringing it out there. There's a video of me from George Magazine Live where I took the stage to sing and dance. And then people, quite frankly, Christians or proclaimed Christians, say, oh, look, Gene Ho is drunk on stage. Look at him. And quite frankly, I never took dance lessons. I didn't know there was a right way to dance or a wrong way to dance. But, you know, there it is. I'm out there and people making fun of the way I dance. Interestingly, with that, in the Bible, there was another case of someone who danced like a fool again, like me. And that was King David. And study up on what happened to Micah, who complained about how he danced. Sometimes people are just happy. And I just want to, and that's not even the point. I just wanted to tell my schedule. You realize that our fruits, George Magazine, Day Blaze, myself, the fruits are every morning we start with a Bible devotional. So you guys actually see my videos. Then at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we do Facebook Live where we talk about news and how it applies to us today. That's another of the fruits. And quite frankly, some of you guys see it, by 7 o'clock p.m., I'm on my TikTok Live. We have a lot of fun there, but some of it's really serious stuff. Those are the fruits. And people can look at me and say, oh my goodness, he doesn't look like a Christian. I even had one person say, oh, watch out for Gene Ho, because the devil also knows the Bible very well, but by the fruits you shall judge them. And it's interesting. Now, here's a flip side of it. This right here is called nightshade.
It's funny when he mentions nightshade, that's in Dark Shadows, is something that's supposed to be lethal. Don't eat nightshade, you'll die. But the focus is turned away here from that night when he got on the stage, you know, and do people have a right to, that were there to observe it, do they have a right to have an observation about it? I think it's fair that they do. The pastor cannot control every word that comes out of his mouth. But when there is a pattern of what could turn into gossip and what have you around the church, the pastor does has a requirement as the pastor of the church to look into it, to interview those that are being accused if he can find them, and I guess he could because Gene Ho met with him, and then take it to perhaps the elders and then to prayer and see what God would have him do. And then he makes his decision. Just like Pastor Bob had no control over what someone in the church band was doing many miles away. What a low blow. Uh, in a sting operation that Pastor Bob knew nothing about. He can't control that. You can't blame him for that because we all know, as they say in a popular TV show, I know that this house and these people all have secrets. Everybody has secrets. So obviously, two things can be true. The man performing in the band loves the Lord Jesus Christ. He loves the people at Household of Faith. He wants to glorify Jesus Christ, but the flesh is weak, just like Paul described in Romans 7. The things I don't want to do, these are the things I find myself doing. So if Paul had that problem, well, then somebody from the band can be many miles away from the church, unbeknownst to Pastor Bob, and make a really big mistake. And it's not Pastor Bob's fault in any way, shape, or form. So that's where the story is now. It's a fair use clip because this is a news story now. But the idea, that's how people see the idea. I say idea, but a lot of people like to say the idea that there is some kind of active relationship right now with Pastor Bob Joyce and George Magazine because another creator is involved with George Magazine, is writing songs about George Magazine. Um, that's just ludicrous. That's ludicrous. Unless God steps in, unless all parties get together and come to an agreement about this whole situation, you're not going to see Pastor Bob at George Magazine 2026. He was maligned by the publisher. Now, if you want to say something about that, Dave Blaze, as I say, I'll keep checking my email, and we can do this in a pre-recorded video if you see this later. It's never too late. And you're more than welcome to do that. You're more than welcome to do that. And the same for Gene Ho. The same for Gene Ho. We've obviously talked before. I interviewed him. He interviewed me in two separate interviews. And I love Gene Ho. But this is a story that they keep putting gasoline on the fire. And it's just George Magazine will have the audience that they have. It's very difficult to do print in 2026. If you were doing a magazine, I think that dealt with nothing but wild conspiracies or even, fairly reasonable, because there are weird things going on. If you had a magazine like that, that might go. An Alex Jones type magazine, did he have a magazine ever? That might be because there's a real strong conspiracy audience out there. But I never considered the Bob Joyce story a conspiracy. I consider it all about a man that was called to preach the gospel of Jesus Christ. Yes, there's a lot of things I don't understand. I've said there's things that need clarification and what have you, but I believe that when he gets up to preach, I'm seeing an authentic man of God. So I leave it at that. I'm not going to know everything. Gene Ho was very excited when we talked about Pastor Bob Joyce, told me how Dave Blaze said, now you got to get on over there. This man, everybody's saying he sounds and looks like Elvis. We got to do a story on this. You get on over there. Gene Ho fell in love with the church and next week brought his whole family. And that went on for a very long time, well over a year. That went on where he made the trip from Hot Springs, where he lives, to Benton, Arkansas, and he was beloved by everybody, including the Joyce family. So this is a tragedy. This is a tragedy. I have no idea whether Gene Ho had had anything to drink when he hit the stage. There are people that seem to think he did. I have even said this, even if he did, it doesn't make him the devil. I'll tell you, this last Saturday, I drink so seldomly, but I like to have maybe a cocktail. So we went to, there's a video up on it, at Old Erie, after we saw the great Irish tenor Andy Cooney. We went over to have some salad and some lasagna with meatballs and their wonderful garlic bread. Well, it's dipped in a garlic olive oil sauce. It's just incredible. And I ordered a vodka sour, and I said to the waitress, I said, just a splash of vodka, not too much. Well, she didn't listen to me at all. It was a strong drink. And so I had about a quarter of that, and I started to feel a buzz. Oh boy, now I'm in trouble. We live pretty close to Old Erie, but I certainly don't want to drive drunk. I certainly don't want all the repercussions that could come from that. So but I ate enough food and what have you, and but until the last minute, I was thinking, am I okay? Am I okay to do this? Because Karen had some wine, so she wasn't going to be able to do it. She wasn't particularly, she probably wasn't 100% though. So, but I waited long enough that I felt secure that I was pretty good, pretty good. I don't know what I would have blown in a breath test, but I was pretty good. But I thought, wow, I'm not going to do this anymore outside because if I got to drive, I'm not going to take the chance. I'm not going to take the chance. So I don't believe at all that the Bible teaches against any alcohol. There are people right here at this family that believe you should never drink a sip, and that's fine. You can believe that, but I don't think that's what the Bible teaches. And so, um, if Gene had had a drink, and maybe it was a little stronger than he thought, I wouldn't fault him for that. I don't fault him for getting on TikTok and trying to be an entertainer and reach people that are not Christians, that are he's got stories about President Trump and George magazine he wants to promote and stuff. So uh, you know believe me, I was a disc jockey. I know the urge to be funny, and you say, "Oh, gee, that's a little carnal," and you say, "I better be careful here because the flesh suddenly appears." I don't blame him for any of that. I don't expect. In fact, I'm a little more relieved that someone isn't covering up, um, their personality and pretending that they're holier than they really are. Because Christians are very good at playing a part. So there you go. Um, Jesus Christ drank wine, didn't he? Yes, he did. I, do we have a scripture that he actually partook of the wine? No, I don't think we have that. But he turned the cheap wine into top shelf wine, and they said usually at a wedding ceremony, because they ran out of wine at the wedding ceremony, they serve the good wine first, a little bit, give you a little bit of the good wine, but then as you get a little inebriated, you're not going to notice at the wedding. So that's when they bring out the cheap stuff and it's all the same to you. It's all the same to you at that point. But you save the best for the last. And Jesus Christ is certainly the best. Uh, the best. Uh, Jesus is the best for the last. I mean, the Old Testament, we weren't living up to it. We were not going to be able to keep the law. God saw that firsthand. Whether it's interesting scripture, really. Didn't God know that we wouldn't be able to do that because of the fleshly side of us, that we would end up breaking a number of those commandments, and that we would fall uh, spectacularly? Was he surprised? In any case, he decided to give his very best gift to us, his son, Jesus Christ, who became the replacement for us for our punishment. That if we apply the blood, if we receive the gift of Jesus Christ into our hearts, we will be saved, not because of anything we've done. We have just, except asking for the gift. We can say no to the gift. We can say no. Okay, so that's a little bit of content there on Pastor Bob Joyce. Let me just quickly check my email here, see what we have. We heard from Mike, pics taken of the different Bob Joyce. Yeah, I'm going to look at that, Mike, because that's one of my favorite topics. I look at Cash App because I see that here. And Elaine Peterson, thank you so much. Elaine Peterson has hit the Cash App for $10 for a love tip and a kiss. A kiss by Prince or Tom Jones, who did the Prince song. Thank you, Elaine Peterson. And I'll put down the Cash App handle for anybody that wants to do that. It's either the thanks button or the Cash App. Those are the two ways that we have here. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Also, we heard from Tammy with an I talking about Gladys Presley. She saw this posting. Yes, Gladys Presley had high hopes that her son Elvis would become a preacher. Before Elvis was born, his mother made a promise to God. See, I can't verify any of this. This is just what's written here in Google. She made a promise to God that if she was blessed with a son, she would raise him to be a preacher. Of course, ultimately, the son has to come to that understanding. A promise to God, according to the family accounts, Gladys aimed to keep this promise by nurturing a deep sense of faith, compassion, and spirituality in Elvis throughout his childhood. Calling on his life, she often spoke to him about God and that very calling. So there you go. And there's more about that. And you probably heard that sound. Nanette hits the Cash App for $10 as well. Thank you, Nanette. I appreciate that very, very much. So let's look at your pictures, Mike. So this is a young man who kind of looks like Elvis. And there is Pastor Bob Joyce. Doesn't look like Robert Wayne Joyce, so I'm not quite sure what you're trying to tell me. Let's go to picture 2. Oh boy, yeah. On the left picture, I got to show the audience because what good is it if I just explain it? Real-time photos, gang. We're not cutting edge here in the technical field, but we have our moments. And if I need to roll in something, I'll get Andy to do it. And the third one, I think that's Pastor Bob, the third one. I do. So close, though, sometimes. I understand what you're saying. So thank you, Nanette, and thank you, Elaine Peterson, for hitting the Cash App, which is available in the United States and the UK, I believe. And I'll just write that handle and we'll press on. I'm not going to belabor it. And then I got a big thank you in general coming a little bit later on. So it's lowercase letters, Media Guy 56. That is my Cash App handle. I get more of it when you do it that way, but I'm very thankful for the thanks button. Very happy to have it, and I thank Google for it. Here's Carol. that your initial? The second letter, the M? Plesden. Hi, Carol. Where are you watching from? I'd love to know. Hit the like button for Jockey. Oh, Jocko. Now I'm Wacko Jacko, huh? I see where you're going, Richard. Save your picture from your phone for a folder on your computer, and then you should be able to put up those photos onto your live stream. Well, you mean not show it now, show it later? I know what you're saying. You want me to do technical work during the live show, and that's hard for me. That's hard for me. It doesn't mean I can't put it up with Andy's help, but to start trying to monkey around putting things into a folder from the email in real time, that's distracting. And what's easy for you is not easy for me. And technically, if you're impaired, are you paired when you are technically qualified and technically skilled? Are you paired? I don't know, but let's see here. Sometimes it looks good when I hold the phone up, and sometimes it doesn't. The darker the picture is, the better it looks. I can determine that much. Andrea's here. Hi, Andrea. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings for a March 25th already. March 25th. Hello all from Maine, the lovely state of Maine. One of my favorite states. Cathan. Boy, these names are not easy. The last word looks like mama. So Kathana. Huh. Are you a cooking mama? Hello from Maine. What part of Maine are you from? I'll just call you Cathan. I don't know. We love Maine, and we go up to places like obviously Kennebunk, Portland, Sanford. We want to go to Wells, Maine this July because we have a friend there. And we've been to Bar Harbor, visited Jordan's Blueberry Pancake House there. Lovely. A lot of people in Maine. And we love to go up there and have our cod or haddock with the beer batter dip, and also, of course, the lobster roll and the clam chowder, etc., etc. I am from Dexter. My name is Robin. Well, that's a lot easier. Hi, Robin. Welcome. We have several Robins here. And so where would Dexter be near? What are some of the places near Dexter? I don't think I've been through Dexter. Jack, says Jackie Organ from Australia. Matt Joyce confirmed on TikTok that Nick Cage filmed his movie at his sister Sabrina's house. Thank you for that, Jackie. I mean, I had already gotten it confirmed from an inside source, but it shows you, Dave, you're shooting off your mouth. And that's a heck of a thing. You can't just blow that away. Someone said, well, one of my fellow creators who doesn't want to be named said that the chances of that being random is like there's a better chance of you winning Powerball. There's a better chance of you winning Powerball. We know that Nicolas Cage was the son-in-law of Elvis Presley for about 3 months. Yeah. And we have pictures that we've shown with Pastor Bob. And I've got a whole file now of just the Bob Joyce Elvis picture. And by the way, I'm still not going to do the amount of content I did before. But when I have something, and I have something tonight, I'm going to do it. I'm still the chronological storyteller, and I have to correct something when something's being pushed out there. I don't work for George Magazine. I don't want to work for George Magazine. I don't want to be a non-paid person working for George Magazine. Whatever it is, I don't want that because that would become a conflict. Um, Bob Joyce is the golden ticket topic, fellow creator. We both know that, and you don't want to lose it. And I totally, who wouldn't understand that like me? Huh? Eh? 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 Of course I understand that. But you can't marry something that has been recently torn apart, torn apart, and infer that, oh, there's noisy voices saying other things. Don't pay attention. Yeah, don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain because he is the link to what you're saying being nonsense. So here we go, right here. That's Pastor Bob Joyce in the middle, the man who looks like Randy Quaid. He's going to do his one-man show to Randy Quaid. That's, would you let him do that, Sabrina? That's, I think, her husband. And there's Academy Award winner Nicolas Cage. That's an authentic photo. It's not AI, like the guy from France said. Anything that doesn't fit the narrative is fake. It's so juvenile. It's so second grade to say that. But I said a year ago, oh, that's what they're going to say now. Everything that they don't agree with is an AI fake, and here we are. That doesn't mean there aren't AI fakes. There's plenty of Pastor Bob Joyce out there with Priscilla. They forgot to use a more recent photo of Priscilla. You know? So they're not doing too good with some of their AI fakes. Robin Roman is here talking to Jody Smith. And Pam Inslee says, if I remember, Nicolas Cage got to see Elvis's bedroom, being married to Lisa. That sounds very logical. Sounds very logical. Sorry that marriage didn't last longer, you know. What do you think about Chuck Norris dying? He was a great guy. Yeah, we've covered that. So you have no interest in the Bob Joyce topic, right, Michael? You really have no interest in it. So you ask a question about Chuck Norris, and I think we talked about it on Saturday night. They just don't make them like Chuck Norris anymore. He was he was so authentic. He cared about other people so much. He impressed everyone from Benjamin Netanyahu to the poor guy on the street in a poverty-driven city, and he would take time for both of them. And he loved the Lord Jesus Christ with all his heart, and he was very careful about the kind of work he did. He wasn't just going to take anything. He didn't do gratuitous violence. He always wanted it to be structured. And so people loved his movies, loved his interviews, loved the way he lived his life. And everybody, including Arnold Schwarzenegger, adored him. So we hope he's in the presence of God, and I believe he would be. So, yeah, we love that. We love Chuck Norris. But if I started to do the Chuck Norris topic, it wouldn't take me very far. But we did honor him, and still do to this day. Just like when Neil Sedaka, we lost Neil Sedaka, a musical legend. He was definitely a great guy. 100% agree. Jack, thoughts on Trump at Graceland? Yeah, I have some picture. I was going to use that for the thumbnail, so maybe I'll use President Trump at Graceland, but it's not really, this topic is not something I plan to do until I saw Gene Ho's latest video. I watched it just the other night, and I said, well, there he's talking about it again. So I wasn't there. I didn't see him hit the stage. If somebody has the video, please send it to me. I would appreciate that. Jack the Fair Guy at gmail.com. Jack the Fair Guy at gmail.com. Oh, I forgot to send you wedding photos. Wedding photos? I'd love to see them. So remember my email now. Yeah. Wondering if there are any pictures of Trump with Pastor Bob. Well, there are people that swear that he was that Bob Joyce in further disguise with a big bushy. Hold on, please. That he was at a Trump rally and Trump famously said Elvis is here. And but to me, the guy that was behind him on the stage that they are referring to did not look like Pastor Bob Joyce in a further disguise. In other words, Pastor Bob with a big bushy beard and what have you looked more like almost like the caretaker from Graceland, who also, like Pastor Bob, has the Kenny Rogers look. The Kenny Rogers look. So every once in a while, someone will tell me they saw Pastor Bob Joyce mowing the lawn at Graceland. Trump loves to troll. What do you mean? Expand on that. It's not Cocoa Rocks, is it? Choco Rocks. Jack, I'm on the side that says he's E, and anyone that says that Pastor Bob isn't hasn't seen the hard evidence that leans more towards him being E. Well, I know that's how you feel, Jody, and I tend to concur. I tend to concur with you because there's just so much, Jody, and you know this. There's just too many things. People say, "Oh, what about this one and what about that one?" Faking their death, all their favorite people, and I say, well, there's not going to be dozens and dozens and dozens of things you have to take a look at. And they keep on coming, and I'll prove that in a second if I don't know how the quality will be. Um, oh no, it's true. It's true. We talk about everything, absolutely. Um, but if the inference is that we ignored Chuck, we didn't. We did talk about him, and you are more than welcome to talk about him again. Well, I don't know what the timeline is on you knowing for sure. I think it's inevitable, but I could be wrong. And I could be wrong about the whole thing because I only speak of possibilities. Julia Joyce, I got confused with Matt's post. He hints that Pastor Bob is not EP, but on the other hand, he puts up all these shorts that are basically saying he is EP. Maybe you could expand on that a little bit as to, even if it's in an email, it doesn't have to be now, and I'll present it to the audience later about what those posts are. I know I'm giving you like a homework assignment, but um, it is very interesting. Matt Joyce is EPE, Elvis Presley Estate, certified Elvis impersonator. He is. So, let me look up something else someone gave me. Oh, yeah, I was going to show you that picture someone just gave me. Um, they mentioned the one who is Robert and the one who's Pastor Bob Joyce. It's difficult. I think I agree with you. But then again, not so much because the eyes are Robert Wayne Joyce's eyes are not Elvis's eyes, and that is close. So it's I have a video called Barrel Full of Bob Joyces. There's more than just Robert Wayne Joyce and Pastor Bob Joyce, I believe. And we have those pictures and we've shown them many times. So So someone goes to the church in 2023, April 16th, 2023. Can someone look up and see if April 2023 was a Sunday? Because I forgot to do that. But they tried to get a Wi-Fi signal in the church well prior to the service. Now you got to shut off your phones. They don't want you recording things. They don't want you certainly filming during the service, you know. At the end, when the pastor's taking photos, you can bring out your phone then. But the date was, yeah. See, I knew it was too light, so that's not going to work for me. I hope the other picture works for me. Anyway, a list of available networks came up, Wi-Fi networks in the church. And it only came up briefly, but long enough for them to, I guess, screenshot it. And the number one network that was available was that one. See how good it can be? It doesn't suck all the time. That is the network that allegedly came up at Household of Faith as the Wi-Fi that was available. And the name of the network is Elvis is Alive. Underneath TP Link, I thought of Tom Presley, but supposedly back in 2023, when they went to search for Wi-Fi at the church, that is the link that came up, but it was locked. Elvis is alive. So there you go. Just another one of those things to add to the list. Oh, it's Margaret. Yeah, I forget that. Hi, Margaret. So you've got pictures to show me, huh? Jack, thoughts on Trump at Graceland? Do you think Bob E. was there? I have nothing to verify that. No one has said anything about that. If anybody has any information that he was there that day, I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. Just going down the list here. So I don't know of any pictures of Pastor Bob Joyce with President Trump. The creepy room at Graceland. Robin Roman says, I sure will miss Chuck Norris. I just purchased one of his nutritional products. I had the powder, that morning something, that thing you're supposed to take right in the morning, just as we got the bad news. Peace be with him and his family. Godspeed. Realtor Joe in Texas, Realtor Joe. So Trump could have brought anyone to Graceland, and yet he chose the AG Pam Bondi. You find that interesting, huh? What do you think that's about? Jack, but those are the people who keep clutching that that's Jody again, that the funeral in 77 was legit, because to them, that would be betrayal to find out he's still alive. Or they're protecting him knowing full well that the funeral wasn't legit. That's another possibility. All we do here is speak of possibilities. Hi, Jack and everybody. Hello, Rita. Lovely Rita May. Brenda Sage says President Trump made a visit to Graceland, right? 2 days ago. Can you believe it was his first time? Do you think Trump was allowed upstairs? Good point. I haven't seen any indication. I haven't seen those pictures. Hopefully we can look into this a little more and find out some more answers. Lovely Rita Maid. God bless you, Michael. Have a great night as well, Michael. Yes, he signed a guitar. I do have a thumbnail of that, of him having signed the guitar and holding it up. I do have that. Neo's discount Wi-Fi is failing him again. He's either got ads or he's buffering. We have 81 watching right now. Hello, hello. Please sign in. Please subscribe. I'd appreciate that. We got to another plateau of 11,400, at least the last I checked. So please, if you haven't subscribed, to have some room there to hold on to that plateau, please subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. Sometimes, like about 6 o'clock this evening, we just pop on to pop off. And if you have your notification bell on, you'll get a notification if you're near your turned on device, okay? It's interesting, though, Ken. Pastor Bob Joyce is a more popular topic than Elvis right now. So it's no wonder that some of the people that talk Elvis, Elvis, Elvis want to talk about Bob Joyce because he's, he continues to be a hot, hot topic. Thanksgiving weekend now, November 27, 2022, I had the blue Florida shirt on, an aisle seat from left side. You mean when you went to Household of Faith? Elaine Peterson, Neo, you must be getting all the ads. I had a few. You must be getting all the ads. I had a few. So different people get different amounts of ads. Yes, Jack, Chuck Norris's morning kick. That's it. I got the morning kick there. What was your experience with that product? It kept me regular. I remember that. I've yet to receive it. Yeah, it was good. It was good. These days, I've been leaning more on the Premier caramel shakes or the Atkins strawberry shakes. Is the first thing that I have. And I have to say that the gut renew from Suzanne Summers Organics. Karen believes in that, and she puts it in smoothies with a banana and some other collagen. And she's got this thing also, Suzanne Summer Products. Of course, she's passed away. Her family runs it. Now there's a brand new spokeswoman who's a host on the Home Shopping Network, and I don't think she's leaving that job. I think she's going to do both. And this whole thing does remind me of kind of the thing going on with Gene Ho and what have you, and George Magazine. Just looking back here, because Alan Hamill, now the widower of Suzanne Summers, was beloved as a beloved host of his own company. Well, it was Suzanne's company too, and then she passed on. But Suzanne Organics, Alan would come on usually every Wednesday night with one of his, it was, let's see, what would she be? Violet was the most popular host. And she is the the daughter of Caroline Summers, who married Suzanne Summers' son, Bruce Summers. And so they were all very close knit, and everybody loved it when the girls came on, and they loved it when Alan would come on with usually Violet, sometimes Carolyn Summers. When Suzanne passed, he doesn't live that close to them. It's a big drive. He lives in Palm Springs. They don't. They live in LA proper, I guess. And so it was a drive, but they didn't want to leave Alan alone, even though he has a couple of staff people. But they spent time with him and would stay overnight, different people at different times from the family, very close family. And they blended, him and Violet blended very good on the air. And Alan would go on forever. The censor, because he's over 90 years old now, and the censor would sometimes fail him, and his content would be very funny and provocative, and she often would say, "I got to be careful." They called them Zeta. That was their nickname for him. Whatever, I have to be careful what I say to Zeta because he'll just whatever I say to Zeta because he'll just run with it. Old people do that, and he's such a gifted broadcaster. He was a legend in Canada, Alan Hamill, and then he came here and he became a popular spokesman. Had a big radio show in Canada and I think a TV show as well. But here he was the spokesman for Acme supermarkets on the East Coast, Alpha Beta, same company on the West Coast, Alpha Beta supermarkets, and he did other things, commercial 30-minute commercials and what have you, and was so well known. And then he began to manage Suzanne Summers' career when he met her, et cetera, et cetera. So he was beloved. But then out of the blue, um, he announces that, out of the blue, we learn that Carolyn Summers is leaving the company. She has created many of the products for Suzanne Organics. And, but there's going to be changes, and she didn't see how that would fit in. And people were asking, and they didn't feel they were being told the truth by Alan Hamill. Everybody was very shady, and their responses are very measured. Let's put it that way in their responses. And people were getting really angry and angry with Alan and what have you. And then he announces that it's been his dream to create um, an AI version of Suzanne Summers. An AI version wouldn't be on all the time, but maybe every Wednesday or what have you with him. And he thought this was going to be great. And oh, it got panned. It got panned. People didn't like that at all. And that hurt his feelings tremendously. And he just stopped broadcasting completely. And to this day, there's no AI Susan, and I don't think there's going to be. I don't think there's going to be. Um, People did not receive that information well. They like what was. They liked Carolyn a lot. Now Carolyn was leaving, and she was, everything looked that it wasn't a good departure. She said that she would stay and train the new person. Well, the new person has finally arrived months later, and from HSN, and the comments are brutal, like they don't want to give her a chance. And they're saying things about Alan and stuff like that. Sometimes they take the comments down, sometimes they don't take the comments down, to their credit. And so I thought, here is someone who was beloved, and they destroyed their own reputation. They destroyed their own reputation. And it parallels a little bit what's going on with Dave and Gene, in a sense, because the relationship that they had with Pastor Bob Joyce was beneficial to all three concerned, but mostly to them, because Pastor Bob Joyce doesn't need them. He doesn't need George Magazine. George Magazine is, trying to maintain and grow an audience in a very difficult time for print media. So it was never that big with JFK Jr. It's not that big now. I don't know. They can share, if I'm wrong about that, they can share with me what their subscription rates are. Thank you, Deborah McGinty. Look at that in Taxi Cab Yellow, my favorite. $10 on the thanks button. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate that. You joined Jody Smith on the thanks button tonight, which you can find right down here. Replay crowd, same with you. For any amount, it's just a virtual tip jar. It's just a virtual tip jar. Kenneth King is here. Yes, what a difference does it really make if he is or isn't Elvis? So this isn't the channel for you, Kenneth. I'll tell you right away. You won't like it here. If you feel that way, you're in disagreement with thousands and thousands of people. You probably know that, right? Elvis was a great entertainer and a great pastor as well. Well, who says he was a pastor? We don't know, right? What difference does it make? If whatever he is or was, he's doing what God planned for him to do it. Yes, but when in 2011 you decide to start a YouTube channel, and make yourself available with the help of John Cook to an international audience on YouTube. People are going to notice, and it's a darn good thing, because if God has given you, as Pastor Bob says, visions to reach the world, well, you're going to need people to subscribe to your YouTube channel. You're going to need them to come to that church and then build a bigger church, which they have done, or moved on to bigger quarters in the beginning. And it's going to benefit you when people from, in one case, one Sunday, 13 countries are represented in this little church way out of the way from Little Rock Airport to your church. That's a news story. That's a news story. And when he says things that sometimes are, like, I used to dance with my hips, but now I dance with my shoulders because I'm getting too old. And when we see things like the possibility that he was not only at Lisa Marie's private funeral, this is just a possibility. We've showed the funeral service card, which could have been faked, and we see Pastor Bob Joyce officiating the service, and we see dozens and dozens of other things. What difference does it make? It's human nature. It's human nature to want to know about this, and to try. You then have to reconcile with it, with the vague denial he did make, and see what you think. See if you think that we've got a problem. Houston, do we have a problem? So you can't expect that people wouldn't comment and notice, and they're not bad people, Kenneth, for doing it. Okay, they're not bad people for doing it. It's just normal stuff. So, but far more important is that when people do think he's Elvis, it gives them cause to show up in the sanctuary or watch here on YouTube, and it gives the Holy Spirit an opportunity to lead them to Christ. But we're not bad people for noticing the biggest entertainment story of all times. We're just not. And you're not a better person than us because you say that. Richard, says Robin Roman, a very familiar name for me, my father, brother, nephew. I'm obviously in mid conversation here and I have no idea what that's about. Good night, Carol. Is that Carol Cook? I'm glad you stopped by, Carol Cook. I am. Nancy DeMarco from Oklahoma is talking to Helen McDonald from Australia, I guess. Richard is my dad. Richard was my Uncle Dick, actually. Yep. Dick Willard, Richard Willard. Good night, Brenda Noyce. Good night. I hope you're okay. I hope you're feeling well. I wonder how Chris Starry is doing. How's Carolyn Mullins doing? I'd like to know that. If you're watching the replay or if you come in here live, I'll ask you if I see you. You may be here and I've missed you. Thank you, Deborah, for blessing Jack. Yeah, thank you as well. Believe me, we have a small budget here, and I really want to thank people for obviously for March. We did pretty good. When I say I did pretty good, that means I did maybe 1/5 of, it's not even that much of what Candace Owens does, but it's okay. I'm happy being a small fish. I'm just trying to supplement a retirement that ended up being too small. A couple of things came at me, big time things from left field, making my pension smaller and what have you. And so, this helps. And I'm trying to give my best here. Not everybody appreciates it like Kenneth, but I try to I give my best. And I think that this is the greatest entertainment story of all time. But there's also this wonderful spiritual aspect to it. And Kenneth is right. The most important thing is Jesus Christ. I don't become obsessed with the story. I don't go around thinking about it all the time. When it's time to come up here, when it's time to prepare a story, that's when I do that. I'm not. I'm very happy just to promote when sources give me information. The May 22nd concert with Pastor Bob Joyce in Cabot, Maine. I did find that on Sabrina's page. It was just further down. And if we go to bobjoyce.org, it's still up there. The $100 reserve seats are filled um, in the big sanctuary of the Baptist Church. You just have to type in B and it comes right up. But the $50 seats for the concert are still available as far as I know, but it's not going to be forever. Bob Joyce concert, May 22nd. Pastor Bob Joyce will have a concert Friday evening, May 22nd of this year, to benefit the ABC-FM. That's the Arkansas Baptist Children and Family Ministries at the First Baptist Church of Cabot, Arkansas. More details and ticket purchases can be found at donorbox.org/events. That's a /events /905459. Just what you do is you go to bobjoyce.org and click on this link. Okay, it would be much easier because that's a cumbersome link. The preferred seating for the benefit concert has sold out. General admission, $50 still available. That's what they're saying on bobjoyce.org. Okay. They remind you about scammers online that are pretending to sell tickets. Do not buy tickets from any individual. Do not buy from anyone running a Facebook group, even if it claims to represent Pastor Bob Joyce. The only way to buy tickets to the benefit concert event is a link at donorbox.org in this post. Donorbox.org. All right. So that ought to be wonderful. Wish I could be there. And 10 tickets per person tops. I don't know how big the sanctuary is, but it's pretty big, apparently. It's pretty big. So keep that in mind. We love promoting those things. I'm always looking for new information. Well, here's the Tennessee Titan himself. All of a sudden, he's just there. Hello, Bayou Girl. Yeah. Is that Andrea? I get confused, Todd, sometimes. And Elaine Peterson, of course, from Sale Creek, Tennessee, Mr. Todd Bradshaw. He's been such a blessing to me, I can't begin to tell you, but so many of you have been. Todd is at the top, but so many have been there for me. It's a small but very loyal group, and never tip when you can't afford it. Never, never, never. It's just a tip jar. Stephen Spielich saying, good night, everyone. I got to go to work. That's because you're a young man, Stephen Spielich. Here's Rocky Mountain Red Wing. Thank you, Stephen. I know you were here earlier. Hi, Robin, Elaine, Jack, and all. Welcome, welcome. Would she come and knock on your door? That's a Three's Company reference. I realize it. So sad that there had to be a time when Suzanne left the show, and there was a falling out between her and John Ritter. And then one day he just calls her. He wants her to do something for something. And a year or two had gone by and she had not heard from John Ritter. She had heard he wasn't happy about her asking for a salary that was comparable to his because he felt that his contribution was stronger, and he was right. He was right. But also, ask for the raise and then decide whether it's really worth it to walk away from a hit show if you don't get it. I understand. It's reasonable to she was very important to the show. Very important. She was the second most important person on the show. A change of subject says, well, it better not be algebra, Sandra, because I don't know nothing about it. Maybe Richard does. Change of subject. So do you have any idea how many photos are posted on your walls up there? Well, you heard me tell the story about 1 hour photo with Robin Williams. One of my favorite Robin Williams movies. Saw it at least a half dozen times, probably more. And he's obsessed with this one family. And so he always, when they come in with their prints, this is just as digital was starting to happen. but they were still bringing in their photos to save Mart to be printed by Cy, who was a very lonely, somewhat psychopathic guy, but you know, he hadn't been violent so far. And so there's a scene that they show him coming into his living room. Robin did not wear his wig for this part and dyed what Harry has blonde, so it looked great. And he had the glasses on, kind of like this. And he stands before his living room wall, and they give a shot of the photos. I don't know if it's all from that one family or not, but there must have been 150 people there on this psychopath's wall that he, because every time he would make a print for himself, and he's standing there beholding his shrine, his altar. He's looking at it. And at that point, it occurred to me, my God, I got a lot more photos on my wall than he has there. um, I have no idea. I know that I've started to take some down, and then I'll end up putting up back the photos that I thought, no, it doesn't belong here. Um, I'll put something else up, like a dark shadows photo or something like that. I got so many photos of dark shadows that, I, I got a lot more to post. So I would say 300, 250. I don't know. I don't know. But it gives me a certain comfort. It may sound weird, but it gives me a certain comfort. And then in the case of other photos, no, that doesn't belong there. Take it down. So I get that too. Hey, Homer, what's going on with Homer Overcash? She's back in his original handle. He was born in 1953, or are you age 53? You told me last time. I'm doing good. The diabetes is aggravating on the legs and feet, but doing good otherwise. Do you have high triglycerides, Homer? Because this Elaine won't agree with this, but this Ozempic brought my triglycerides down for the first time that I can ever remember. Brought it down to below 150 when it used to be close to 300 or more. And it's good for my blood sugar and everything. I'm pre-diabetic. I went from diabetic to pre-diabetic, and I'd like to say it's because of my amazing willpower, but it appears to be from Ozempic. Hi, Miss Carter from Honolulu. Hello, Jack. Hi, Susan. How you doing? I don't really know where you live, but I know you like Hawaii. I wonder how close you were to where Chuck Norris ended up passing away. Have you heard anything on, this is Dodger, have you heard anything on Hank Williams Jr. sick and having to cancel shows for this year? I heard something really. I used to play his music, but that was back in 1977 at WBUZ, the sound of the country. I like him. So he's got to be pretty old now, right? How old is Hank Williams Jr.? I haven't heard that. I can Google it. I'm so sorry, Uncle Albert, says Elaine Peterson. No, I'm so sorry, Neo. Try the keto diet, and it will help with your diabetes. Just a suggestion, of course. Suzanne Fair, $5 on the thanks button. Thank you, Susan. You're a frequent tipper, and I appreciate that. I like Flipper, but I like Tipper better. Anybody watch Flipper in the 60s? Everyone in USA pre-diabetic, right? Well, I know what you're saying, Rocky Mountain. Yeah. So I'm glad I switched back to pre. I liked Hank. Yeah, me too. Junior. And then there's Hank Jr.'s son is out there recording as well. There's three of them. Hank Williams arrived at a concert. They opened up the door to let him out of the back of the limo, or a nice car anyway, and he was dead. He was dead. It's the sad, standard American diet. Yeah. Yeah. But who was the actress? I just read her quote was, "Eat the red velvet cake. Life is short." I'm not saying eat it every day. I never eat red velvet cake because to me it's like maple syrup. There's no taste to red velvet cake. Have you noticed that? I hate to say this, Gloria, forgive me for this, but I love the devil's food. I love the devil's food chocolate cake, that is. It's much better than the red velvet. And I have to admit, although I like it, the devil's food, Gloria, is better than the angel food. But if I'm having strawberry shortcake and you got to have lots of juice, you can't even find the frozen strawberry when we have the juice. Oh, I can make the juice, Karen says. People have told me this before. They can't make the juice like that. Nah. It's not just sugar and water make the juice with the strawberries. I don't know what they do. Todd Bradshaw saying goodnight to Brenda. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if Todd likes the strawberry shortcake. And what about putting it on a biscuit? That would be a Tennessee thing, I bet. Good homemade biscuits. I have to admit that the Pillsbury flaky biscuits to me are a lot more appealing than what I'm going to get at KFC isn't a bad biscuit, but what's that place down there in the South that something in biscuits, chicken and biscuits, whatever? They had a bunch of them in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I love Flipper. Yes, Bud was the kid, right? I had a crush on the boy. I think it was Bud, wasn't it? He had a lot of freckles, didn't he? Huh. Thank you all for the suggestions. Yeah. Love strawberry shortcake, says Gloria. Yeah. Absolutely. But it's hard to find the frozen strawberries, which had the nice juice with it now. I haven't tried Aldi's, though. I haven't been to Aldi's in years. Some people love Aldi's. So let me just check the email here. Mike and Jess on the Jesse and Elvis thing. Uh-oh. Oh, look at your pictures there. Yes, every once in a while I get the Jesse is still alive people. You think Elvis looks too tall and that's Jesse with Frank Sinatra? No, that's Elvis. That's Elvis. Isn't it weird, though? In one of the pictures you sent me with Elvis and Sinatra, Sinatra looks shorter. In another picture, and I know he's wearing a hat, Elvis looks taller than Sinatra. I would think Elvis would be, but I'm not really sure on that. So thank you, Elaine and Nanette, for hitting the Cash app. And Todd Bradshaw, the Tennessee Titan, for gasoline to go get kitty treats, right? It's getting expensive. Thank goodness I don't usually have to fill up the tank more than once a week or less. But there will be some trips coming up. Not the Poco weekend, missing the first Poco weekend. The last 8 times they had one, I was there. It's coming up in the middle of April, but we're just going to have to say no to that. The week before, we'll be in Wilkes-Barre with Polka Sean and Polka Norma at the Mohegan Sun Casino for the polka show. And Polka Sean is saying, well, we didn't get to celebrate your 70th birthday on the actual date last Saturday. So the tickets and the dinner that precedes it is at Ruth Chris Steakhouse is on us. You don't turn 70 every day, he said. So I said, you don't have to pay for the tickets. And you have to pay for anything, of course, But he says, no, it's on us. So, and we get to drive up with them too. So it's a win-win situation, Ruth Chris at 2:30. And I was saying 2 to 5 for the show. I swore I saw that, but they've moved it or I was wrong all along. Either one could be possible. Mohegan Sun in Pennsylvania for the Pennsylvania people, the New Jersey people, and New York people, of course, not that far. 4 to 8 p.m. with the polka family, maybe Joe Stanky too. His brother John Stanky, another polka legend, passed away recently, so there'll be a tribute to John Stanky. So thank you so much, Todd. You're number one with a bullet, but I thank the person who gives $1. But obviously, people like you have been very helpful to me making the goal every month, and it's undeserved. And you're a good guy. You're a good guy. Thank you so much. And thank you, Elaine, and thank you, Nanette. So I got some stuff from Mike to check out. I do. And back to the live stream. I hope you have a great polka time. I'm so on polka withdrawal. I have not been to a polka show since December 6th. That was the Christmas show. And you can find that here, the second part of it. You can find a part of it with the Coasters as a special guest, and Matt and Elaine and all the Jimmy Sturr singers, et cetera, et cetera. That's right here on YouTube. Just look at my video list. With high fuel prices, what are the prices there in regular dollar amounts? And shortages here in Australia, roads are much quieter, uh, like they were during COVID. Yeah. Well, I'll say this much: things will get better. We're going to war this weekend. Breaking news: Iran just gave Trump the you know what finger, and he's been moving. He's been moving vessels closer and closer all weekend long. They like to stall, and Trump uses that time to bring. So by Friday night, folks, you will see what is it? How do you say it? That island, Kohenig, whatever it is, that island is going to be occupied by American troops, perhaps, or more likely missiles and what have you in certain areas. He doesn't want to destroy it, but we cannot have the s'more or whatever it's called um, closed anymore. So Trump is going to make them once again regret being so stubborn. So stubborn. We want to finish the job. So these horrible people that have been threatening us for 47 years, that have killed so many of their own people recently, thousands of their protesters, they mowed them down like they were ants. And so we want to end the threat of annihilation for Israel and also annihilation for the United States. It's a valid cause. So this weekend, there'll be a lot of people watching the news because it's obvious. Trump also likes to hit on the weekends because the stock market is closed. The stock market is closed, and he's going to bring everything back. He will not settle. It's a midterms year. He will not rest until gas is again about $1.95 in some places. It'll never be that in California with all those taxes. But he's not going to rest until the price of beef is where people want it to be and everything else. So this has just been a temporary incursion, and it's going to end. He is not a forever war president, but he took care of something that every other president threatened to do, and he actually is doing it. So be watching your TV this weekend. Trey Yangst is such a good reporter, isn't he? And they got some good ones at CNN out in the field too. They allowed a few reporters in Iran, but they can only speak positively of the regime. So what good is that, Oh, Bojangles. Is that what it's called? That sounds right. Yeah, Bojangles. When I was in Rock Hill, South Carolina, Bojangles chicken and biscuits, right? Hardee's, which is also the same as Carl's Jr., right? They both have biscuits, sure, but I was thinking of Bojangles. Yeah. I like a flaky, crusty biscuit, and I have to be honest, nobody does that better than Pillsbury to me, my taste. I don't like a hard biscuit. I don't like a dry biscuit, but I'm not really a biscuit person. But when it comes to, hot out of the oven, I reach for my Land of Lakes olive oil and sea salt butter, although they say sea salt's really not that good for you. I wish they'd drop the sea salt. Um, oh, that's good. That's good. I wish that I believed that, but I think he's not what you say he is. So again, I'm in mid conversation. Um, it's perfectly okay if we're talking about the Bob Joyce topic. You follow your heart and what have you, and um, I've had my doubts too. I cover all bases. Him being the love child of Elvis and the uh, the love child of Vernon, who may have had right after the passing of Gladys. If he's younger, if he's 91, he's Elvis, or some would say he's Jesse. So it's okay. It's just when people come on and they come on with an attitude, and then you know the idea that, oh, you're just sinful for noticing that he's you're just not being a good Christian if you want to comment on your thoughts on Pastor Bob and the relationship he may or may not have to Elvis. I don't believe that. Thank you. You're welcome, Jack. Love the show, really. I don't know if you saw any of the beginning, but we're once again forced to talk about the Gene Ho situation because he keeps posting on it. And then one of my fellow creators likes to, he's in a hard, he can't win for losing because it's not the Gene Ho topic that gets him any views, not that many views. It's all Pastor Bob Joyce. So he wants to hold on to that, but he's involved with George Magazine. And there's no link now because Dave Blaze and really Gene Ho too separated that. They did that, not Pastor Bob Joyce. He didn't agree with what they wanted him to do, especially Gene. And so you can't force the pastor to do something that I'm sure he took to prayer. I'm sure he took it to prayer more than once. So what can you do? So right now, there'll be no Pastor Bob Joyce isn't going to be doing anything with George Magazine as it looks now, unless the Lord steps in and all three men get together and work this out. Because it's not good for Dave, and it's not good for Gene, and it's not good for George Magazine. But let's not pretend, and let's not try to have our cake and eat it too, where we want to speak about Pastor Bob because that's where, if we have any chance of getting views, it's going to come from the Bob Joyce topic. The other channels, they don't mean anything. 24 subscribers in one, songs now and what have you. Hey, go for it if that's in your heart to do it. But you can't also have Bob Joyce. You can't have it both ways. It's just silly. It comes off looking just silly. Silly, 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 Sandra Fair. Have you ever been silly? I have. I have back issues, several. Oh, back issues. I thought you meant back issues from some magazine, perhaps. I have back issues, several bulging discs. See, I've never had that, but Karen would know exactly how you feel. Does Karen feel her surgery did the trick for her, or is it too early to tell? Um, she has issues still. She feels the bulging of the metal, sometimes. And then there's the lower back issues. They didn't work on that. She has bad arthritis and what have you. The doctor said I could go in there and I could do this, that, and the other. But you wouldn't like me afterwards. You'd be suffering for a good long time. So let's make that the last option, So it's really tough. So the next step for Karen is to go back to Dr. Damicella, or as I like to say, Dr. Damicella, and get some special shots, hopefully targeting the area where she's having the most discomfort in the lower back. So, she's got pain every day. So, she takes various things, gabapentin, and another muscle relaxer. Rarely does she take any marijuana. We don't want her falling down the stairs, you know. She wouldn't take it when she was going down the stairs, but still, the gummies were too strong for her, it seems. So she takes half of one sometimes because, it affects your sleep, right? You don't get the proper amount of sleep. So, and the other day, we have a coffee can, an old Melita coffee can on the fridge, which we pour the grease into. Thank God it was she had emptied it or put a new can up there or whatever. But it comes down and it hits her on the bridge of the nose, Didn't make her nose bleed, but she saw stars, and it's, oh, man, just terrible. Jack, take me with you for your steak. Well, you'll have to talk to Poker Sean about that. I think it's a little distance from where you live in Spokane area or somewhere in Washington State to Wilkes-Barre or Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. It's quite a distance. You live out there in the middle of nowhere. Wow. Well, I'm not saying, obviously there's big cities in the state of Washington. So we've never been to Ruth Chris. So that'll be nice. Sean Hannity says it's a great place. Black Magic Cake is even better. Magic Cake. Basically a mocha cake. Well, I don't drink coffee, Neil. So I want to drink coffee, but I then have the coffee and say, I don't like this. I just feel like I'm missing out, We have a place right up the road here. I didn't know if they were ever going to open to the public because all of a sudden they had the sign up that it was a fermented coffee place, but they had to buy the place and put their big vats of coffee in there, and then they had to ferment it. So it was 3 or 4 months before they even opened up, and all of a sudden I see they're open and people are in there. So I wonder what you think about their fermented coffee, huh? So usually, I tell Karen, please don't put coffee in the smoothie. I don't like coffee. If she just puts a little bit in it, it's not bad. But I feel like I should like stuff like that, but I don't know. I just can't get past it. Yeah, it's cool, Dodger. I guess I'm reacting to that again. I have my doubts sometimes too. I absolutely do. And I've said that. Something's going on, though. Too many coincidences, and I don't even believe in coincidences. I just joined Planet Fitness. Oh, I see. Yeah, I can't do stuff like that with my cardiomyopathy. They just tell me to get out there and walk, and tomorrow I'll be doing it. No excuses tomorrow. The weather will be warm, and more warm weather is coming, just not right away. Lard or real butter makes flaky biscuits. Yeah, we used to use lard when I worked at when I worked at McDonald's in 1972. We'd have these 50-pound cubes of lard, white lard, and every, I don't know, 3 weeks or so, we would change the oil in the French fries. And that's what we would do after the place closed. I was on the cleanup crew. I was the crew chief, but I didn't have to do it. But someone else did. And they put a 50-pound cube of the lard in the French fry. And I don't know if one cube did both sides of the French fry thing or not. But that's what it was back then. 100% pure lard. Robin Roman says she loves to cook and then she's a foodie. Well, aren't we all in a sense? Um, Rita says, do you like Planet Fitness, Rocky Mountain Red Wing? A lot of people join and then 3 weeks later, they've stopped going, or they go just a few days a week, and then it's 1 day a week. And oops, I haven't been in 3 weeks. So don't be that person. Karen gets to the YMCA at least once a week and sometimes two to do her swimming. And Elaine, of course, says, no pills, Jack. Okay, Elaine. um, marijuana should be legal in all 50 states. Um, well, I don't disagree, but I also know that the problems that it brings. You got people driving high, kids driving high, they're smoking it in the car. And, you know, depending on your behavior, you're not going to get stopped. But eventually you're going to have a terrible accident. And there you go. Recreational pot smoking is really, if you're not doing it for a valid reason, like to get some sleep or something like that, um, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. It'll take your focus off of being the best you can be in life. You're in chronic pain and it helps you. I totally understand. I totally understand. It's an herb. God made it. Yeah, we all love to eat. It helps with my seizures, starring Jonathan Frid. Seizure, one of the movies he did after Barnabas. And eventually he realized his future would be on the stage. People would always come to see him on the stage all around the country and beyond because he was Barnabas Collins. But it wasn't working in the movies. It wasn't working on television. I smoke it at home, says Elaine Peterson. Okay. Is it legal there in your state? It must be. You're a very liberal state. It's not legal in Texas, but they smoke it there. Everybody's kind of a foodie, I think, Neo, if we're going to be honest. Gluttony is one of the 7 deadly sins, though, so you got to be careful. I mean, if God was a New York pizza with mushrooms and peppers on it, I could definitely pledge my allegiance 1,000%, but he's not. Cannabis helps me with anxiety. Yep. I understand that. And helps you get some sleep, right? Just looking back here. Strawberry shortcake, says Todd, made with biscuits, fresh strawberries and cream, sugar. It will make a glass eye water. Well, I'd have to ask Sammy Davis Jr. about that. But I like that really good juice that isn't usually made from just crushing up the strawberries into water and sugar. You know what I mean? And it's hard to find frozen strawberries now that have that juice that comes with it. Tudor's Biscuit World. Where's that located? What part of the country? Dodger Ram. And what's so good about Tudor's Biscuit World? Like what would be on the menu besides the biscuits? What do they serve with the biscuits? Yes. All right. I think so we're getting close to Easter, everybody. We're getting close. The 5th of April. So that would mean this weekend is Palm Sunday, right? Yeah, Palm Sunday coming up. Found great pizza in Slate Hill. I've heard about that place, Ken. You liked it? You liked it? Yeah. What's the name of it? I can't think. I've heard it before. Is that the guy who used to be, I want to say, a police officer or something like that, and he opened up a pizza place? Karen's not good with the vaping. I'm not so great with it either. The gummies is okay, but I don't do it very often. Usually one Xanax is what I do, sometimes two, if I feel I haven't had enough sleep. Come to Australia, Neo. You could try kangaroo EMU, camel, and crocodile meat. Oh my God. You guys are savages. Hey, if we ever went to a slaughterhouse, we'd all become vegans. Yeah, baby. I think I just heard Brad sigh. I better lower my voice. I've got the vent covered up, but you know, it only does so much. Only does so much. I work at Hand and Stone, and it's in the parking lot, so my plan is to go before or after work. What is Hand and Stone? Yeah, a lot of people join gyms and they never go, or they only go for a short time, and then it's less and less and less. Lane is still hammering the no pills thing. Want to say I have had deer, EMU, elk, camel, that poor camel, bear, duck, and more. This is so far beyond my realm, but then again, why isn't it gross to eat calves? We've taken their life, so we can enjoy a steak. Jack, we should all be vegetarians. At least we can have their byproducts, right? Like their milk and their eggs and stuff. Save our animals. I can understand that thinking. I can. But I can't give up meatballs. That's about the only thing that comes to mind that I must have. Chicken, that would be the other thing. It's not meat, but it's foul, and it's foul to eat it. Oh, 61. Oh, there goes somebody, whether it be an ambulance or whatever. Police car, I'm not sure. I guess you heard that on the air. Cake. Did somebody say cake? I know, right? Yeah, I had my pineapple whipped cream cake for my birthday and enjoyed that. But boy, there was a lot of sugar in there. I don't think I'll be ordering that next year. So thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Jody Smith. And thank you, Deborah McGinty, for $10 on the thanks button. Thank you so, so much. Appreciate that. And let's see here. What am I doing? Brenda Sage says, Jack, how's Bob Joyce membership page? Is it worth $10 a month? Yeah, I think so. And I think it'll get better and better and better. But I've got to spend a lot more time there than I have. Sabrina's here? Sabrina D. Where are you from, Sabrina? So yeah, Day Plays, Gene Ho are always welcome to call in and say what they have to say. But no, I really have never counted my photos on the wall. Then there's all the photos I didn't put on the wall. You know what I mean? We go to the end of this now. Napoli's Pizza on Route 6. See, I'm so loyal to Brother Bruno's, though. I know everybody's schedule. I even found out the guy who works in the back with the silky thing on his hair. He's off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That was the only one I didn't know. Why do you like it? What's a standout for you? I was just watching the Nashville Elvis Festival on Facebook. The tribute artists performing, they were amazing, says Jackie Oregon. Cool. Ah. Whoa. So tomorrow's the choice day of the week. 70 degrees, just one day. Keep hitting the microphone. Neo has a picture of him riding a camel. We'll send it to jackthefairguy@gmail.com. Because I've never seen a picture of you, Neo. I won't hold my breath. Book of Hebrews, chapter 3, beginning with verse 5. So as the Holy Spirit says, today if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts, as you did in the rebellion during the time of testing in the desert, where your fathers tested and tried me, and for 40 years saw what I did. That is why I was angry with their generation, with that generation. And I said, their hearts are always going astray, kind of like us. And they have not known my ways. So I declared an oath in my anger that they shall never enter my rest. See, there's frightening stuff in the Bible. See to it, brothers, that none of you has a sinful, unbelieving heart that turns away from the living God, but encourage one another daily, as long as it is called, today, so that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness. We have come to share in Christ, if we hold firmly to the end the confidence we had at first. As has just been said, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts as you did in the rebellion. From Hebrews, the 3rd chapter in the NIV. In the NIV. Yeah. Good night, Elaine. Thank you for dropping by. Thank you for hitting the Cash App. I appreciate that so much. Annette and Todd Bradshaw and those of you who hit the thanks button tonight. Very, very thankful for that. Still 55 watching. If you missed any, watch the replay. We do content at about 15 minutes after the hour on our subject on Pastor Bob Joyce. We'll only do it when we have something, and today we did, so we will. Obviously, I don't want to go a whole month and not doing it because as I knew views started to go down real fast. Even though we had a successful birthday show, it wasn't in terms of viewership. It was some great people that stand with me, and I appreciate that so much. Amen, amen. Zoo Crew 99. Take care, everyone. Didn't know you were here. Thank you, Zoo Crew. And hello, replay crowd. Please subscribe. Very important. And do it right now. Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell. We're planning on being back with you Saturday, but who knows? We come up with a pre-recorded video. So that's why you want your notification bell on as well. Have a great Wednesday. It's going to be a good day here in the Hudson Valley, I think. And until next time, big God bless you. Bye-bye for now.